A lot of you guys thoroughly enjoyed my pain in my video where I talked about my very first kiss, which if you watched it, you'll know that it was a disaster. Well, today you're gonna hear about the worst date I ever had. Now, I've been on a lot of dates, and a lot of them were good, and a lot of them were bad, but none of them compare to how terrible, just so terrible this one was. Just, God. As you know how I like to do for the sake of this video and to save this poor man's identity, I'm going to use fake names for everything. So we're gonna call him Toby. Now on paper, Toby seemed like the perfect man. I was 18 and he was 22. Kinda. I'm gonna get to that. So he was slightly older, he had a steady job, and as my mom loved to call him, a good Christian boy.
Bitch, please.
If only she knew. If only she knew. So I met Toby while I was in my freshman year of college, and when he asked me out, I was like, I guess. I was really hesitant. I was 18, I was a freshman in college, like, I was trying to work out my time management so that I could have time for my mental breakdowns. Like, I didn't really have time for a relationship. But my mom was breathing down my neck, and so were a bunch of my friends, so I was like, if it'll get y'all off my back, okay then. Before I continue the story, let me just clarify that 18-year-old Mackenzie was a pushover and not as blunt as 23-year-old Mackenzie. Like, now, I'm a strong, independent black woman who don't need no man, but 18-year-old Mackenzie was like, oh my God, you're paying attention to me. So times have changed and I have changed. So before you judge me, judge 18-year-old Mackenzie because she was the bitch that told this dude that she would go on a date with him. So Toby told me to dress fancy, and then he didn't tell me where we were going, and I have a problem with that. Like, if I know you, you can surprise me all you want. Like, if we've been dating, awesome, cause I know you're not gonna murder me. But if this is our first date, I need some kind of indication of where our location's gonna be so that they can find the body. Maybe I'm paranoid, I don't know. So on top of him telling me literally nothing about where we're going, he told me to dress fancy. Like, do you know who I am? I don't want to dress fancy. Like, I will for sure, but I don't wanna. So I already had the wrong attitude going into the date anyway. Like, I didn't want to go because 1, Toby was kind of boring and honestly not my type. 2, I didn't know where we were going, and that's a big issue for me. 3, my mom wanted me to date him. Like, Mom, like, ew, Mom, you date him, jeez. But I went solely for the fact that I thought, he's not my usual type, maybe I should give it a shot. I'm sure it's worked out for other people. Like, I'm not saying never go outside your comfort zone, but for me in this situation, I definitely shouldn't have. So the day of the date comes, I'm dressed fancy AF. Like, I didn't want to go, but like, I looked really good. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And then the doorbell rings, and you'll never guess what Toby was wearing. This man shows up in a sweater vest and jeans. Like, okay. There's nothing wrong with a sweater vest and jeans, but after you tell me to dress really fancy, and I'm in a dress and heels and you're wearing like Chuck Taylors, a sweater vest, and some light wash jeans, don't come up in my house. Turn around, leave, because we look like we're going to completely opposite places. And then on top of that, when he saw me, he wasn't like, wow, you look nice. He literally saw me and said, why'd you get so dressed up? You told me to, Jesus! Like, 23-year-old Mackenzie wouldn't even get this far because she would have told this dude a long time ago, very politely, that she's not interested. Like, me now, I wouldn't even have gotten that far. Like, girl. So 18-year-old Mackenzie was the one that really messed up. So here's where the date starts to just take a turn for the worst. So like I said, I'm trying to hint to him the whole time that I'm not really interested. So I turn to him and I say, hey, like, it's cool and all that you're like 22, but you know, my mom doesn't really like that you're older than me. And he said to me, I'm not 22.
Hold up.
My heart dropped. I was like, what the Trying to hide the terror in my face, I said, well, how old are you? And Toby turned to me without skipping a beat and said, I'm 32. I made him pull out his wallet and show me his ID because I did not believe him. But sure enough, he was 32. Like, what on earth do you want with an 18-year-old? Like, I'm still on Neopets occasionally and RuneScape. Like, go away! So after the first of many panic attacks for the night, he turned to me and said, oh, by the way, I need to go get money for this date. So I was like, bet, an ATM, like a normal human being. We didn't go to an ATM. We didn't go to an ATM. We pull into one of these neighborhoods where like you'd miss it if you were driving too fast because there's not like an entrance, it's just like a street that you turn right onto. And then we pull up to this one specific house where like there's like 5 pit bulls in the yard. And I'm a pit bull advocate, there's nothing wrong with pit bulls. Like my roommate has one and he's the sweetest lump of idiot I've ever met in my life. But these pit bulls look so angry. Like these were the angry pit bulls that people are afraid of. And I just was so scared, okay? And then Toby gets out the car and then they calm down. They're like barking playfully and wagging their tails and ooh, 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 ooh. And I'm like, this dude's been here a couple times. Oh, this place was so shady. Like there was a couch on the porch. Why is there a couch on the porch? Why are you on the porch that much? And on top of that, it was the middle of winter, so it's like 28 degrees outside. Why are you lounging on a couch on the porch? And so by this time, I want to go home. We aren't even on the actual date yet, and I want to go home. Like, that's not a good sign, I'm pretty sure. So then Toby goes in his back pocket and pulls out a like crumpled paper bag that's not even like in bag form, it's like rolled. And then Judd pulls out this envelope that clearly can't hold all of this cash, but he sure as hell tried to make it hold all that cash, and they just exchange. And I'm like, okay. So we get to this restaurant that's really weird and like it's fancy. It's one of those fancy restaurants to where like it's only open on like a Thursday when it's not raining from like 6 to like 10:47 at night, like weird hours. So we sit there and it just got worse from there. Toby just starts asking me all these weird ass questions. It's not like normal first date questions where it's like, what's your favorite color? Where'd you go to school? Do you play sports? How many mental breakdowns a week do you have? Like, it's none of that normal stuff. He starts asking me, who'd you lose your virginity to? Do you see a future with me? How many kids do you want to have? Like things that you just don't ask. And out of courtesy, I order like the cheapest thing on the menu. Mainly because it was so fancy, I didn't know what anything was, and they didn't have chicken strips. We're eating, and it's just weird the whole time, because he's finally picking up that I'm angry. When we were almost done, he goes, hey, are you mad at me? You asked me who I lost my virginity to before I got my damn water. So I finished my meal, he finishes his, and even though I hate him at this point, I still look at him and say, hey, thank you for taking me here. The food was really good. I really appreciate it. So then we get in the car and I'm thinking, hallelujah, I'm going home. I'm going home. No, that's not what happened. He looks at his watch and he goes, oh, we're right on time. For what? And he said, we're going ice skating. And low-key, I really love ice skating. I'm horrible at it. I got to hold onto the wall, but I love ice skating. But I didn't want him to know that I was excited because I just wanted to go home. So I was just like, that's cool, I guess. So we go ice skating. I'm holding onto the wall. I'm having a good time, just pretending that I'm alone. And I'm like, this is my wall. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And then he comes up to me and tries to hold my hand, and I go, he said, you don't want me to hold your hand? I was like, not really. Well, what if I kissed you? And I'm like, I feel like that's not the next thing you should have said after I told you I didn't want you to hold my hand. Like, what? You're skipping some levels, son. You're skipping some levels. And then he held both my hands and looked at me and then said, what if it went like this? Toby, I don't care which way it's gonna go. I don't want you to do it. But he didn't listen to me. So Mackenzie had to think on her feet. And I grabbed his face and just kind of mushed it. I was just like, no. And looking back, like, I don't have any regrets for mushing his face. Like, I told him I didn't want him to kiss me and he still tried. Like, I don't care how it's gonna go. I don't care what temperature it is outside. I don't want you to kiss me. I just don't want you to. So then he finally got the hint that I didn't want to be there and I didn't want him to kiss me. I didn't want him to hold my hand. Didn't want him to touch me. I'm visibly upset because when I say no, that means no. I didn't even do jujitsu at the time and I would have still kicked his ass. I would have attempted. It probably wouldn't have been a good attempt, but I still would have. No means no, you idiot. We get in the car, he drives me home, he walks me to the porch. And I see the porch and I'm like, thank you, Jesus, for my couchless porch. I can't wait to go inside, take this bra off, take these heels off, and just eat whatever's in my fridge. He looks at me while we're on the porch and he says, well, I guess this is good night then. And so I looked at him, I go, yep. And I'm looking through my purse, looking for my keys. And then he says, so I can't kiss you? And I was like, no, you cannot, no. I turned to him, and I am very grateful that he liked me enough to take me on the date, paid for my food, he paid for everything. Like, he didn't have to. Like, I am very grateful for that. So I turned to him and I say, hey, like, I really appreciate the date. Like, even though I didn't necessarily have a good time because you're kind of a busybody, I really appreciate you paying for everything. Like, thank you for that. And then he said, oh yeah, it's no problem. So I go inside. My mom wants to know all the details. I didn't even tell her the details because she would have told me to go out with him again. I just told her, like, look, it didn't go well. It just didn't go well. She was severely disappointed. I was not. Like, this is a 32-year-old man asking me personalized questions, like, insisting that I kiss him. Like, this is just not, no. So that was pretty much my worst date ever. Things happen the way they're supposed to happen. I'm glad that I ended up going on the worst date of my life because it made me figure out what I don't want to deal with. It also pushed me to where I am now, to where I don't have to deal with anybody's bullshit. Wherever Toby is, I wish him the best. I honestly hope he got married because that seems like that was his ultimate goal. But I'm sure as hell glad it wasn't to me. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed my pain. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every Monday. See you next week. Bye. Hey everybody, here I am at the end of the video this time. I'm going to give a shout out to my own documentary that is premiering on Saturday called A Path Less Traveled. I've been working on this documentary for a little bit over a year now, and I'm really excited that it's finally premiering. It's going to be in the Oklahoma City area at 2:30 p.m. at the Northwest Library on 122nd and MacArthur. Be there. Eddie's Bar and Grill is going to be catering with the best wings in Oklahoma, so you don't want to miss it. If you haven't seen the trailer for A Path Less Traveled, I'm going to link it down below in the description box. Also, go subscribe to that other channel called Pink Rose Studios, where I put all of my documentary work and promo videos. There's also an event page on Facebook for A Path Less Traveled, and I'm going to link that down below so you can RSVP whether you're going to come or not. There's also another page where you can just go like for the documentary and get updates and behind the scenes. Okay, now thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every Monday. Bye!